The mountain wind screamed across the frozen valley as snowflakes danced wildly under a silver moon. I fell to my knees beside the wounded wolf, my breath clouding the frigid air. "Hey, wake up! Don't you dare! Close your eyes now!" I pressed my hands over the wolf's wound, my fingers trembling not just from the cold, but from raw fear. Dark blood seeped through my gloves, staining the pristine snow. Out there in the wilderness, mercy is a rare currency. Yet, that night, I showed it to a beast. I tore my jacket apart, wrapping the wolf's wound as tightly as I could. Far away, other wolves howled, their calls not hostile, but mournful, as if the forest itself was bearing witness. I lifted the wolf heavy limp, but still breathing, faintly, and began the long walk through the blizzard. Hours later, through sheer exhaustion, I spotted it, an abandoned hunter's cabin, nearly buried beneath the snow. I forced the door open and stumbled inside, laying the wolf gently near a broken fireplace. The cabin was bare, just broken chairs, a rusted kettle, and old firewood damp with frost. Still, I worked fast, rubbing 2 sticks together, praying for a spark. Finally, a small flame flickered to life. I melted snow in a pot, cleaned a wound, and whispered, "You saved me from that bear. Now I'll save you from death." I fed the fire all through the night, forcing myself to stay awake. Every time the flame dimmed, I added more wood. The wolf stirred, its eyes opening slightly. It looked at me, but made no sound. Just a long, silent stare filled with both pain and a glimmer of trust. Between us, no words were needed. Only a silent understanding born from battle and sealed by blood. The storm raged for 3 full days. I rationed what little food I had, giving more to the wolf than to myself. Sometimes I found myself speaking to the unconscious animal, my voice soft but sincere. "You're not just an animal, are you? You're something else. Something this world forgot how to be." On the second night, the fire nearly died out. I tore the last page from my notebook, a faded photo of my family, and fed it to the flame. Staring into the light, I whispered, "I lost everyone once. Maybe I was meant to find you." The wolf's breathing steadied. By the 4th morning, the storm finally ended. The first ray of sunlight pierced through a crack in the cabin wall. The wolf finally stood weak, limping, but undeniably alive. Days passed. I hunted small rabbits, gathered what berries I could find, and repaired the cabin. The wolf followed me, quietly watching, learning. At first, we kept our distance, but soon we began to move as one. The wolf would scout ahead. I followed its tracks. At night, we sat by the fire I'd carved wood, and the wolf would rest near my boots. In a place where life demanded strength, we found something even stronger: trust. One day, I slipped on an icy slope, nearly falling into a ravine. In a flash, the wolf grabbed my coat in its teeth, pulling me back from the edge. I laughed in disbelief. "You saved me again. You really don't give up, do you?" For the first time, the wolf wagged its tail, a slow, cautious movement, but it was the first sign of warmth. Winter began to fade. But one morning, the wolf growled at something unseen. I followed its gaze and saw them fresh footprints. Human. We followed the trail and found a group of hunters skinning a deer near the river. I recognized one of them. The same man who had set traps before. "You again," I said, my voice tight with anger. "The forest's not yours to bleed," the hunter mocked me. "And you think it's yours? Go back to your shelter, mountain man," the wolf snarled, its fur rising. One hunter raised his gun. "Don't you dare," I shouted. But before he could shoot, the forest itself answered with a howl. One, then another, then dozens. The hunters froze, suddenly surrounded by unseen eyes in the trees. I whispered, "You're not welcome here." They fled in fear, leaving their weapons behind. The forest protects those who respect it. That night, the wolf and I were no longer outsiders. We were part of the wild itself. Weeks passed peacefully. The snow melted. The rivers sang again. Flowers began to rise through the white blanket. The wolf often disappeared into the woods, only to return with food it had hunted. Our connection had no chain, no command-only choice, but deep down, I knew every creature must eventually return home. One evening, I looked at the wolf and spoke softly. You've got the forest, and I've got the world beyond it. But I'll never forget this winter. The wolf tilted its head, its eyes bright in the sunset. Then it howled a sound both beautiful and heart-shattering. I packed my bag, leaving the rest of my food behind for the wolf. I walked toward the valley, glancing back one last time. The wolf stood there, silent and proud, as if guarding me until the very last step. Then I disappeared behind the ridge. For a long while, the wolf remained, staring at the path I took. Then it turned and vanished into the forest shadows. I returned again in early summer, just to see if the cabin still stood. I brought dried meat and a small wooden charm I'd carved in the shape of a wolf, leaving it near the fireplace. For my friend, wherever you are. I turned to leave, but a sound stopped me. Soft rustling. Then a familiar growlo and friendly. The wolf emerged from the trees larger, stronger, and not alone. 2 small cubs trotted beside it. I froze, my eyes wide. Then a smile spread across my face. You made it, I whispered. And you're not alone anymore. The wolf dropped a rabbit near my feet, a gift. The cubs curiously sniffed at my boots. I knelt, whispering, Take care of them! The forest still needs guardians. The wolf looked at me one last time, that same knowing. Look, from months ago! Then turned and disappeared into the wild, its cubs following close behind. Years later, travelers spoke of a strange Sitta wolf that never attacked humans, that guarded lost wanderers during storms, leading them to safety near an old cabin. Some said it was just a tale, but those who survived the mountains swore otherwise. Once, a man saved a wolf, and the wolf repaid the world. In the wild, friendships don't fade, they become legends. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for part 4. UO, Unwanted Miss, What Happens Next?